And now it is my distinct privilege to introduce you to our 2016 Distinguished Alumnus, Arts Educator Extraordinary, Rory Pullens. You can clap. Can't tell who Rory is, huh? Rory grew up in Southeast San Diego. His parents, who are here with us tonight, still live there. He graduated from Crawford High School and then came to Mesa, where he says he received the foundation for his diverse career in education. After receiving degrees from Loma Linda University, Rory spent nearly 20 years as an arts teacher and administrator, including being the administrator of the prestigious Denver School of the Arts and the renowned Duke Ellington School of the Arts in Washington, D.C. Today, he is the Executive Director of Arts Education for the Los Angeles Unified School District, the largest public school system in the country. His Hollywood entertainment credits include impressive film and television productions, working in production, scripting, and editing for Hollywood Shuffle, The High Heartbeats, casting director Jackie Brown, the Jackson miniseries, Waiting to Excel, Lou Diamond Phillips, James Edward Olmos in Stand and Deliver, and Ron Glass and Desmond Wilson on HBO's The New Odd Couple, NBC's A Different World. And let me name drop some of the stars he's worked with at Duke Ellington, including the likes of Sting, Paul Simon, Smokey Robinson, Stevie Wonder, Earth, Wind & Fire, and more. But the biggest credit he attributes is to his education and how it transformed his life and career. Let's hear from him now, Rory Pullens.
Those of us in the house today, let's show some love for the class of 2016. Dr. Luster, esteemed faculty and staff of Mesa College, distinguished guests, family, friends, and most importantly of all, the class of 2016, today is your day. Now, no one has to tell you that you look good, but class of 2016, can somebody shout, "We've made it this far"? All right, come on now. I like this group already. You know, it seemed like just yesterday that I graduated from Mesa College, but things have changed just a bit. I think the total student population was about the size of the graduating class. I was remarking that no building at Mesa College was above 1 story when I was there. But the cafeteria was still the center of the campus, and amazing things always happened in the cafeteria. No, not the food, but that's where you would meet people. And I was fortunate enough, while I was at Mesa College, to have met my wife, now of 32 years, Juanita. Who knew what would happen at Mesa College? This young African-American student from Southeast San Diego, who knew I wanted to do something unique and special in arts and entertainment, but I didn't know exactly how I was going to get there and who was going to guide me. After graduating from Crawford High School, I paused and considered my educational options, and it just made sense to begin at Mesa College. You know, while I was at Mesa, I was a journalism student. I focused in journalism, and I wrote stories about school life, about opportunities for students, and about what the administration should do to make the campus look more than just an oversized high school campus, that facilities should be a #1 priority for who was ever running this institution. I wrote some pretty scorching stories about how we weren't progressing fast enough at Mesa College. They didn't get great reviews by some of the administration. But decades later, by looking at this class, by taking a look at the fine facility and the growth of Mesa College, somebody listened, somebody heard, somebody stopped, paused, and made a difference. You know, I had a teacher in journalism. My last semester, he was reviewing one of my stories. And he said, you know, Rory, you're a good writer. You're going to do well. But look at this sentence right here. If I might, I'm going to offer you this one piece of advice. Don't forget the commas. Don't forget the commas. You know, a comma is small, but it's critically important. An important pause that allows sentence segments to be connected in a more meaningful way. Don't forget the comma. As a life metaphor, I think I finally understand. Today is not the end of your journey of wherever you want to go. It's simply one segment. But don't forget to pause and reflect just a bit on what your Mesa College segment means. For me, this segment at Mesa College became the foundation to earning a bachelor's degree in film and media and 2 master's degrees in communication and education administration. Who would have figured that Mesa College and the education I received here afforded me the opportunity to run the Duke Ellington School of the Arts in Washington, D.C., and become such good friends with President Barack Obama and his wife, Michelle, that I would hang out in the residence of the White House on regular occasion. Who would have imagined that because I started at Mesa College, that I was sitting in a room yesterday in Santa Monica at Bad Robot Productions with J.J. Abrams, the director of Star Wars, and George Lucas, the originator of Star Wars, to talk about how to further grow the film component in the Los Angeles Unified School District. Who would have imagined? Who would have imagined that I would be sitting in the living room of Sting in New York City, hanging out in the studio with Stevie Wonder on regular occasions. And when I would say, Stevie, I need you to sing a song at this event I'm coordinating, he would say, of course, I would do that for you. And all of that started right here at Mesa College. But you know something? You didn't come here today to listen to some old guy, I mean distinguished alumnus talk about the past. I just want to remind you, don't forget the comma. You know, in theater we say dramatic pause, a moment to absorb your thought, to consider your audience. As the executive director of arts education for the LAUSD, the second largest district in the United States, with over 700,000 students in over 1,100 schools, I am most committed to ensuring that the most underserved students received an opportunity to be transformed by the arts. As you look at your own life success and what you will attain, pause to consider it's not just about you, but how you can help others, how you can give back to your community. It doesn't have to be a big give back. It might just be something in a small way. But again, commas aren't big, but they're also important. Don't forget the comma. You know, in dance, A plie is a transitional step that a dancer does to give them cushion at the beginning of a jump. It gives you power and strength in the choreography. Mesa College may simply be your transitional step, your plie. Some of you might take your own plie before continuing your education. You might join the Peace Corps. You might travel a little bit. You might engage in some entrepreneurial venture to test your limits, or just rest your mind before you make that next big move. But remember, a comma is just a pause. I once saw where this young elementary dancer, trying to learn her craft, attempting to plie, fell down. Her instructor would say, "Just get up." Success is nothing more than getting up one more time than you fall. Getting up one more time than you fall, because as you have already discovered, there are times when you fall. After I graduated from Mesa College, I took a pause to go visit a friend of mine up in Northern California near UC Davis. My friend Mike was a skydiving instructor, and all my life I had wanted to skydive. So I called Mike up and I said, "Mike, I've just graduated from Mesa College. Before I go to the next step in my educational career, I want to do some things in my youthful bucket list. I want to skydive." And he said, "Well, you know, you just don't come up here and hop in a plane and jump out and say you're a skydiver. You have to take some training. You have to take the time to learn the elements of skydiving." "What I'm going to do," Mike said, "I'm going to send you the manual. I want you to read the chapters and be prepared, because the time you're coming up here, we will be in our last day of training, and I know you're a bright young man, but I want to make certain that you're prepared." This was before modern technology and smartphones, so he mailed the information to me. And you know something? I was fully intending to read the entire manual of skydiving that Mike sent me. It's kind of like some of your instructors may have said to you, "When you come to class next time, read chapters 3 and 4. Because I'm going to jump to chapter 5, but that's the foundation in chapters 3 and 4. And if you were like me, you may have fully intended to read all of chapters 3 and 4. As a matter of fact, that book stared at you. You wanted to read chapters 3 and 4, but there just wasn't all the time. And right before class, you skimmed chapters 3 and 4 just to get an idea of what is in there, so just in case you were asked a question, you would be able to give a halfway intelligent answer." That's what I did with that skydiving manual, and I got up to where Mike was, and the class was in this huge airport hangar. And they had their parachutes in front of them, and they were folding their parachutes. And Mike said, "It's about time you got there. Your parachute is right over there. Remember what you read. Start folding your parachute and catch up. And whatever you do, get that right." And I was like, "What you talking about?" So I sat down and I began to peek over to my colleagues in the class, and I was trying to watch what they were doing. They were folding their parachute in this way, and Mike was giving instructions, and he kept saying, "Now remember those diagrams that you saw on page 11. And I'm saying, "Oh." I folded my parachute to the best of my ability. But you know something? I was really more interested in putting on the brown suit that parachute jumpers would wear. I came prepared. I had on black boots. I had on a light brown suit. I had a white scarf and wrapped it around my neck. I put on my goggles. Just like some of you, I looked good. But you know something? I had not paused. I had not taken the time. I was not fully prepared for that jump, and I hadn't been in an airplane that many times to that point in life. And when we got to the altitude that the plane had risen, Mike, who was the pilot of this small plane, got out of the cockpit and walked to the back where 7 of us were sitting. And he said, "Is everyone ready?" And my reply was, "Mike, who's like driving the plane? Because you back here." He said, "Don't worry about it, it's on autopilot." Does everyone remember what to do after you jump out of the plane? And everyone nodded. Yes, we remember, Mike. That was on page 5. Yes, I remember on page 3, they talked about that. I'm like, no, Mike, I don't remember. I had not read, and one by one, when the door opened and the wind began to just gush in, first person jumped out. Mike, remember what to do. Second person jumped out. Don't forget the instructions. Third person jumped out. I know you've got it memorized. Fourth person jumped out. Fifth person. Finally, it was me. And Mike said, "Are you ready?" Hell no. Mike said, "I know you got this. You've gone to college. I know you read everything, you're prepared, and go." And he pushed me. Mike is no longer my friend. But you know something? Going to the next step in your journey is exhilarating. And when I jumped out of that plane, it was absolutely fantastic. As a matter of fact, for a moment, I forgot all about my anxieties, about my lack of preparation. And I began to do flips. I began to pretend I was Superman. I began to turn around like this. And I began passing all the other people who had jumped out of the plane before me. And they began to point. Pull your cord. Pull your cord for your parachute. And I'm like, oh, the cord. That must have been on one of the pages I did not read. I pulled the cord, and I could feel the power of the parachute unravel. And I looked up. Oh, shoot. My parachute cords were tangled. Everyone else's parachute had opened to this perfectly white mushroom. Mine was a wilted asparagus. And I was going down faster and faster and faster, and I could see the expressions of those in the air. I know that success is getting up one more time and you fall, but I didn't mean for it to be literal. And I began to spiral down faster and faster. I paused that time to pray. And the most amazing thing happened when I least expected it. Even though I was not fully prepared, even though I was not completely ready. A second parachute released itself and opened beautifully into this mushroom. Because when you're a novice diver, they do not leave it to that first parachute being done correctly. And so when you reach a certain speed and altitude, a second parachute would actually open up. Sometimes you pause just to say thanks. You know, in music, a pause is a rest. Sometimes when the music crescendos and there's a grand pause right before that final beat, emphasizing the importance of the composition's end, you pause before you end. And if there is any advice I can impress upon you, it would be class of 2016 of Mesa College. Take time to pause. Take time to say thanks to those who have helped you thus far. The only reason, the main reason why I came back to be at this commencement at Mesa College, because I wanted to pause and say thanks to the fine faculty and staff and administration who allowed me, who worked with me, who supported me to be a success in life. Take time to make that comma, to pause and say thank you. Say thank you to your parents. Say thank you to your teachers and instructors. Say thank you to your family. There will be times you'll be saying thank you to complete strangers who come into your life and open doors for you beyond your wildest imagination. In this day of celebration, recognize that you haven't made it this far alone, but with help from others. Life is not a run-on sentence. Take time to give back. It's not just about the money, it's about the passion. Everything else will follow. Take time to succeed. Listen to good counsel. Listen to instruction. Recognize that you cannot take shortcuts to success. Take time to say thank you. Class of 2016, Mesa College, you're going to be just fine, I can tell. But if I can offer you just one small word of advice, it would simply be this: don't forget the comma.
Rory. We want to thank Rory for being here today, and this is your official 2016 Distinguished Alumnus Award. Congratulations.
That's what I'm talking about, right there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. There you go. Thanks so much.